Hey everybody and welcome back. My name is Jeremy and today I thought I would show you some books that I picked up on my birthday book haul. I purposely was on a book buying ban for the past 2 months and I saved all of that money so that I could have kind of this big book buying trip for my birthday, and I am so excited to show you guys the titles that I picked up. First on the list, I picked up Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. This is a book that I've seen thrown around quite a bit. It's really small, but it just has such amazing praise for it. They say a story you want to read again and again, exquisite, a sparse, breathtaking, perfect gem of a novel, a classic, get 2 copies, 1 to keep, 1 to give, and I'm just really intrigued. It's clearly well loved, well received, and I'm just very curious what a small book like this can do. And as you can see, I've already started reading it. I thought it'd be a nice palate cleanser before I jump into some other reads. And yeah, I'm so far really enjoying it. It's just very subtle, very quiet, but you can tell that it's going to pack a punch. And yeah, this is the first I picked up on my book buying journey. The next title I was really excited to pick up was When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. This ultimately was a cover buy. Look how stunning this cover is. Just excellent. But in reality, I've had my eyes on this for a while now, and the synopsis just has a lot of things that are really intriguing to me. On the back, it even says, step into a city where monsters feast on human emotions, knights split their souls to make their weapons, and witches always take more than they give. When Among Crows is swift and striking, drawing from the deep well of Slavic folklore, asking if redemption and atonement can be found in embracing what we most fear. I'm really excited to give this a try because I have not read anything new from Veronica Roth since the Divergent series, and everything about this just seems really interesting to me. The cover, stunning. Synopsis, gripping. Very excited to give this a shot. Next, I have 50 Beasts to Break Your Heart by Jenna Rose Nethercott. This was, again, kind of a cover buy. I mean, look. It is stunning. Beautiful. I'm just in awe. And the synopsis says that 2 teenage girls working at a sinister roadside attraction called the Eternal Staircase explore its secrets and their doomed summer love. A zombie rooster plays detective in a missing persons case, a pack of middle schoolers turn to the occult to rid themselves of a hated new classmate, and a pair of outcasts, a vampire and a goat woman, find solace in each other even as the world's lack of understanding might bring about its own end. This just seems really unique. I also read Jenna Rose's other book, Thistlefoot, and just found it so charming, really enjoyed it. And while I don't normally gravitate towards short stories, I just thought the synopsis was so well done. I'm so interested in all of those individual stories that I knew I had to pick this up. I knew I had to give it a chance, and I am very excited to get to read this. Another book I picked up was Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This has been on my TBR and Goodreads for ages. I'm just really intrigued by it. The synopsis, again, really calls to me. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful, kind princess and her wicked maid. One day, the wicked maid stole the princess's face and with it her name, her betrothed, everything. The princess had to toil away as a servant while her maid lived like a queen. When the maid was caught, she died for her crimes, and the princess lived happily ever after. Or that is how the story has been told. Now it's time for the wicked maid to tell her side of the story. Does that not sound great? I believe this is a duology with the second already out, and I'm always just very intrigued by tales of revenge, gods that get in the mix, and I believe that this will be hopefully a hit for me within the young adult genre. I am just happy that I finally have my hands on this. That way I can either adore it and love it and know that it was on my list so long for a reason, or I gave it a shot and now I can know that it wasn't for me. One I just had to pick up on this trip and was on my list. I knew I had to find it. I had to search for it. That was Water Outcasts by S.L. Huang. This is stunning again. I mean, I don't know if just books are all being made with gorgeous covers because I am just consistently obsessed with them. But this is said to be inspired by classic of martial arts literature. The Water Outlaws are bandits of devastating ruthlessness, unseeming femininity, dangerous philosophies, and ungovernable gender who are ready to make history or tear it apart. This is just combining so many things I love. I really love martial arts. I really enjoy Chinese literature, and this just seems like a knockout. I really love this idea of our main character being a high up military figure who then gets kind of thwarted and then hunted down by the man who wronged her, and she has to basically gather together some rebels and some outlaws and make a merry little band. That's just all the things I love, and I'm very, very excited for this one, as I am all the others. But I saw this, I had to pick it up. I believe it just recently came out in paperback. So yeah, this was a must grab for me. I also believe it's Chinese, right? Just double check. I don't want to be wrong. Chinese classical. The next book I picked up was actually a recommendation from my local small bookstore, and that is Grey Dog by Elliot Gish. This was on the bookstore owner's recommended, and I picked it up. I knew this was actually one I had on my TBR on Goodreads, and it just sounds so odd, so weird, and really gives me A24 vibes, and it just called out to me, and I had to buy it. Ada begins to witness strange and grisly phenomena. A swarm of dying crickets, a self-mutilating rabbit, a malformed fawn. She soon believes that something old and beastly, which she calls the Grey Dog, is behind these visceral offerings, which both beckon and repel her. This just seems like it's going to be a journey of kind of self-discovery, maybe some hidden past that's kind of creeping back up, and just some odd events that are going on, and I'm really, really curious about this one. I feel like there's not a lot of hype about it, but the cover called to me, the synopsis really pulled me in, and I just knew that this had to be one of my picks. Another steal for me was Song of the Huntress by Lucy Holland. Lucy Holland wrote Sister Song, which was such an amazing book. I loved it, and I just knew that I had to give her next book a shot. Again, cover just phenomenal, gorgeous, love all the details. The synopsis says, hoping to save her lover and her land from the Romans, Herla makes a desperate pact with the Otherworld King. She becomes Lord of the Hunt, and for centuries she rides, reaping wandering souls, until the night she meets a woman on a bloody battlefield, a Saxon queen with ice blue eyes. This just calls to me. Again, I'm such a fan of old myths and retellings that just get reworked and breathe new life into them. And I just know that Lucy Holland is an expert at what she does. And I have such high hopes for this one. Another book I picked up was Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bastorica. This I saw years ago being such a shout out, people freaking out about it. The main synopsis is about a meat packaging plant, but instead for like beef or pork, it is for human flesh. I saw this just on everyone's TBRs, everyone's book haul, everyone's wrap up of the year, either a year or 2 years ago, and I saw this used at a bookstore on my book buying trip, and I knew I had to pick it up. I knew I had to see what either the hype, the craze, or the dislike of this book was, and I saw it for a good price, and I couldn't help myself. I had to. Another book I picked up that I'm a little cautious about is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is a young adult, I believe enemies to lovers, fairy tale-esque. It is not typically a book I would go for, but I saw Reagan over on Peruse Project reading this and really, really enjoy it. I think she finished out the trilogy and gave it nothing but praise. And I'm intrigued. I'm interested. She did recommend that if you kind of just like suspend your critical eye and just kind of enjoy the ride, that this can be a lot of fun. And I do think that the synopsis is interesting enough for me to give it a shot. It says, Evelyn Fox has always believed in true love and happy endings, until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding, Evelyn strikes a deal with the charismatic immortal Prince of Hearts, but she soon discovers that bargaining with the Prince of Hearts is a dangerous game. He has plans for Evelyn, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. So while this isn't something I would normally gravitate towards, something about it pulled me in, and I do want to give it a shot, and I do want to see if I am able to just enjoy the series for what it is and maybe just lean back a little bit and not be so critical. But who knows? Next, I picked up He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan. This is the sequel to She Who Became the Sun, which was a fantastic book. It has been a long time since I read the first, and I hope to do a reread before getting into this one. But from what I remember, the first book was just such an epic tale of a young individual that came from nothing and rose through the ranks of the army, the military, and ends up getting into some pretty intense situations and kind of changing the world for their benefit and just doing insane, crazy things. And I'm just excited to see how the series wraps up. This is the second and the final in the series, and I just knew it was time to get my hands on it, put it on my shelf, and make an intention to finally get to this one. Another steal that I got from a used bookstore is Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. I have read Celeste Ng's other books, Little Fires, I forget the title of the other one, but I always really enjoy her writing. She really has a mature depth at which she writes her characters and her dialogue and her plots that she almost is an insta-buy for me now. And I'm just very curious what this one is about. The synopsis says that from the #1 best-selling author of Little Fires Everywhere, a deeply suspenseful and heartbreaking novel about the unbreakable love between a mother and a child in a society consumed by fear. Our Missing Hearts is an old story made new of the ways supposedly civilized communities can ignore the most searing injustice. It's a story about the power and limitations of art to create change, the lessons and legacies we pass on to our children, and how any of us can survive a broken world with our hearts intact. It just sounds like it is going to be an emotional gut punch, and I know Celeste Ng does that so well, and I just knew that with the price this was, I needed to grab it, and I'm so happy that I did. You would think we're like at the end of this, but it's a lot. Did I get too many? No. That's not possible, right? Moving along, I got The Stolen Hair by Holly Black. This is a duology that follows after the Cruel Prince trilogy. Cruel Prince, Wicked King, Queen of Nothing? Queen of Nothing. This is said to follow a new set of characters. I don't know too much about it. I'm very curious if some of the old characters from the previous trilogy are going to show up, or just kind of how those two worlds will intermix. But the Cruel Prince series is about the Fae in an alternate world that is closely attached to the human world, and it is just about all the machinations that happen within Fae courts, Fae politics, and how deadly and dangerous those can be. Holly Black just really knows Fae. She writes it so well. She writes it so dangerously and alluringly, and just really shows that she kind of is the queen of fairy tales. And I am just really curious and really excited to see if The Stolen Hair lives up to my love for the Cruel Prince series. We're at the end. Close to the end. We're there. We're near there, and that's fine. So the last two books were my Book of the Month picks. The first one I picked up was 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. This just sounds like a freaking great time. It just looks stunning. I don't have the gorgeous sprayed edges that every other retailer apparently gets, but it is the season for treason. Must we go on? The king of Yusan must die. The 5 most dangerous liars in the land have been mysteriously summoned to work together for a single objective: to kill the god king, June. I think that sounds great. I think it sounds interesting. I like the idea of like 5 main characters possibly, and the idea that they're all nefarious criminals and having to work together and become a merry band and not kill each other, but then also like achieve this objective. And there's so many elements of this that could work out so well that I just knew that I had to choose this for Book of the Month. And yeah, I'm just really curious to see what this one is all about. Finally, the last book that I got is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is apparently enemies to lovers about a witch and a witch hunter, which alone does not sound super unique, but I've only heard good things about this series, and I really do like Kristen's writing, so I thought, why not give this a shot? Yeah, the synopsis also is very well done. Enemies to Lovers doesn't get more high stakes than a witch and a witch hunter falling in love. On the night Rune's life changed forever, blood ran in the streets. Now in the aftermath of a devastating revolution, witches have been diminished from powerful rulers to outcasts ruthlessly hunted due to their waning magic, and Rune must hide what she is. I think that I am always looking for a good enemies to lovers. I just think that dynamic, if done well, could really work for me. And I'm going to I'm just going to give Kristen a chance. I think she could do it. I think if anyone can, she can. And I just love the cover. I like the idea of witches, witch hunters. It's not something I typically go for, but I'm going to give this a shot and hope for the best. Ugh. They all just fell over. Alright guys, those are all the books. So I picked up a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got a total of 14 books, and I had a lot of fun driving around to different stores, picking these up, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And let me know if any of these sound interesting to you guys, and if you're going to pick any of them up. And until next time, bye.